People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world.
Donald Trump says he wants Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. But is this a...
You're on mute, brother. How you doing?
Oh yeah, getting it right, my bad. Technical problem, but let's get to the topic. This your host, Henry, co-hosting Akama JML. We here today as a follow-up from yesterday's show dealing with Canada and their issues. Now we're gonna go expand on that from Canada, Greenland, Panama Canal. Also, we're going to add the Gulf of Mexico. We as United States is changing it from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And also much more dealing with the fires in California. And stay tuned. How you doing? How you doing, Shen?
Well, no, man. Chilling. Having a good day. I heard about the fires in California. That's some rough business, but yeah, man. Now Trump's out here making power moves if you're paying attention, and he ain't even in the presidency yet. And he's making some real epic decisions and epic moves as he closes in on his inauguration day.
So this the picture that I cooked up. We cooked up because you said you wanted the Monopoly guy, and I'm like, hey, I went in to chop it up, 2s and 3s, and this the picture. Let's get back to it. Bam, Monopoly Trump. You cannot find Monopoly Trump anywhere but the newsroom. The Monopoly Trump.
And it's a very telling picture, though, based on the rhetoric that's being pressed upon the people. So it's a very good rendition of what it feels like Trump's trying to do.
Like I said in yesterday's show, now I'm gonna say it on this show, but now I could give my point of view because this is the show for it. When it comes down to it, we gotta see the best interest in the United States, and I don't think a lot of things can be forced, but we living in an era that resources is getting scarce, and today ally could be tomorrow enemy. That's what we gotta realize.
That's a fact, because we could go simply back to the 1980s, 1970s, and Iran used to be United States ally. Now Iran is one of the United States' most heinous enemies. So you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's one of those type of conditions.
Facts. So we're gonna go into the breaking down. This video is a news report. We're gonna be dissecting it. We don't recommend everything that they say on here. So know that it's for media purpose, educational purpose, and you can say entertainment purpose too.
People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world.
Donald Trump says he wants Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. But is this a serious goal, or is he just trolling everyone? Let's start with Greenland. Greenland is part of Denmark, but Trump's been pushing a takeover for years. This place is a geopolitical jackpot, rich in rare minerals and positioned on a key transatlantic route. Russia and China are keen to get in on the Arctic, so US control of Greenland would be a huge win.
You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen.
Trump is so serious about this that he just sent his son out there on a private visit, all while saying he's open to taking the territory by military force. Now this would be straight up illegal, and the people of Greenland would revolt. But Denmark's Prime Minister did say better Washington than Moscow or Beijing. Then there's the Panama Canal. The US handed this waterway over to Panama in 1999, but Trump now claims it's American land and is being controlled by China, which Panama has denied. So what's in it for Trump? This canal links the Atlantic and Pacific, making it a critical trade route. But like with Greenland, taking it back would cause international outrage. And finally, there's Canada. Here's what Trump had to say about his northern neighbour.
Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No. Economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
Trump is very critical of Canadian trade policies. Merging the two countries would simplify this and create an unmatched economic powerhouse. But most Canadians would hate the idea, not to mention their political systems, policies and values being worlds apart from the US. Perhaps Trudeau's response to Trump sums it up best. Not a snowball's chance in hell.
Where you want to start at? You want to start with we gonna be jumping on the Monopoly board. Where you wanna land on? Where the dice gonna land us on?
Start it up where it's supposed to. Let's start with the most volatile position. Panama, the most volatile. Because it's the most volatile one, right?
Yes.
If we try to go in there, like I was talking to some people at the store yesterday about that, and they were talking about if we gotta go in there, and Panama is gonna be a bloodbath because we're gonna have to kill some folk. I told them I don't know what they're talking about because we just gonna drop some bombs on them and it's game over. I never knew Panama had bombs, but yeah, I mean I know they might have some guns and some drug dealers, but I don't think they got no ICBMs or nothing like that. They ain't ready. And if China took over the canal, like I was saying to these people, I'm like, yo, because they're like, man, it don't make no sense what Trump's trying to do. And I'm like, that's how I can tell people are civilians, when you know people are civilians. Because they always think war is killing and trying to do imperialism, right? Imperialism is probably the best way. But that's not the truth and the facts, actually, because I was trying to talk to them. I said, yo, if China takes over the Panama Canal, do you know how expensive it's going to be for you to buy California goods in Massachusetts or Rhode Island? Because it's faster to go through the Panama Canal with the boat than it is to drive it in a truck across the country. And we already have a show about that. We already got a show about how it's faster. We've done a whole show on this before. And at the same time, it brings up the parallel host, which is the Suez Canal. Those are the two most important strategic choke points in world geopolitics. The United States is not really worried about Suez Canal because we got Egypt and Israel right there. We ain't worried. We got that locked down. But however, if China takes over the Panama Canal, that's going to be bad for trade worldwide because basically what China's trying to do is take leverage away from us being able to put tariffs upon. Because China knows the truth. If the United States put tariff on China, that means other countries is going to get brave and put tariff on China. These people are scared. And I'm talking about Chinese people. The Chinese people are scared because they know that if their product goes from costing $1 American in America after shipping, things like Temu, Shein, all that, it's going to be costing double what Amazon is for the same items because of the tariffs and the taxes and the tariffs and the trade wars. And like Trump said about Canada, which was the really circumspect of the whole situation, is this is an economic trade war. This is World War III, people, whether you know it or not. This is World War III. Trade wars, prices, what items you're buying, what countries you support, corporations that support those countries, et cetera, et cetera. The Panama Canal is the most strategic point right now because basically it's like on the monopoly board for Russia, China, United States. Who's gonna buy it? Who's gonna buy it? You know what I'm talking about, Larry? It's like if a spot on, it's like say we're playing the Monopoly game, right? Me and you. We're playing with other people. Other people represent the countries, right? Everybody owns the properties on the board. Every property is bought already. So now we're stuck in that part of the game where it's just money changing. You know what I'm talking about? Just like right now in the world economy. Most people don't realize it's a trade war because all we're doing is money changing. Value for worth, value for worth, value for worth. What do you need? What do we got? How much are we charging you? That's it. Same thing when they charge you the rents or whatever on Monopoly, the mortgage, etc. Panama.
You cut off. Wait, hold up.
Like,
okay, there you go. You back here.
Canada and Greenland is like.
Wait. Hold up. Before we go into the others, I want to.
No, I'm just saying this. I'm saying something. An example from Monopoly. It's like if two of the properties popped up, now they could get bought. Like, oh, that person went bankrupt out the game, and now those two properties is up for grabs now.
Yeah.
And then the three best players, which is the United States, China, and Russia, is trying to buy these up as quick as possible because there's no land left to imperialize without having to go in there with some type of military capacity and eliminate a group, people group, somebody's culture, somebody's people. You know what I'm saying? And this is that's why it's one of those things. It's an economic because now they can just buy it.
Yeah, when it comes down to Panama, we gotta remember what Robert Reagan say. So let me bring it up. So okay, let me see. Robert Reagan, had said that we had built the canal. Why is they raising the fee? Panama is raising the fees of the canal because of drought. It's also a secret meaning also behind that. China is operating one of the stations with the Panama Canal. Raising the fees help China business, and every China business is part of the People Communist Party of China. That's when they say they got military, Chinese military there. Yes, that's part of the military apparatus. It's part of government economic warfare. Economic warfare is a key part of warfare. That's the beginning of any warfare negotiation. To be able to come to a negotiation table, it's like, hey, this economic pressure is like building up and we can't do nothing about it except for military action, and that's come after the economic pressure. With the Panama Canal, we built it. We paid hard work We put hard work into it. Right now is the vulnerable time for Panama Canal with that. Also, immigration. This is the secret part about Panama, that a lot of Chinese people, a lot of Asians, a lot of people pass through China. Look, can you see it?
This is crossing the Darien Gap. Migrants risk death on journey to the U.S.
They got articles over and over. This is in Panama.
Other than that, they got videos on Instagram and Facebook of them at the border in Mexico and United States, Texas specifically, where they got Chinese people coming across the border. Like straight up Chinese people, not even Mexicans, not South Americans, not no Bolivians, not no Belizeans, straight Chinese.
See, people think Donald Trump is racist. No, he's a nationalist. Nationalist means for this nation, we got to protect this nation. We got to keep this nation afloat. Because there's things going on that we got to make sure that us. A lot of people like, oh, Donald Trump don't need to say that or do this, say that or do this. But who will say it to your face? A lot of people, they do it behind your back, and then when it's too late, you crying. But he telling you in your face that,
you know what it is? It's because a lot of these people, they don't understand when something's not kosher. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. I'm not even talking about in a religious effect. I'm talking about strictly from a cliche. Yeah, when people's like, oh, this ain't kosher. When the situation ain't kosher, you know this ain't balanced. It's not a balance here. It's not an equal reciprocity. These Chinese folks is sneaking up in here, and China right now is probably the United States' #1 enemy and competitor. Both. It's one and the same. Yeah. The enemy and the competitor. Russia is not really, people always be like, oh, we got to be careful with Russia. Russia is smaller than New Jersey. The whole population is in an area smaller than New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese got half the world population in their possession. And just for people who don't understand how big the population that is, the United States, we only got 1/8 of that population. 1/8. That means for every one of them, every one of us, there's 8 of them. Yeah. For every one of us, there's 8 of them. And people's like, oh, but we got technology. Blah. China got almost equal technology to the United States. They might have some different types of the same technology that's maybe it's not as good. You know, you might buy the Temu version, but it's still going to function for a couple of days to a couple of weeks. So you can't downplay China's ability to manufacture, and China's manufacturing right now cheap stuff because that's what the profitability is dictating. Now, if they need quality, people forget that it's only one button on to switch over from low quality items to high quality items on the machinery.
Yeah, so now we're gonna jump from Panama. Now on rolling the dice, we wind up here the Gulf of Mexico. Congress is drafting right now as we speak articles of changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Yeah, I believe that's probably going to go through a little bit more easier than the other three, based on the fact that, we just could pay Mexico off and they'll be ready. They'll be ready to take some money.
Like I feel like it's kind of like Christopher Columbus Day. You feel that they call it Indigenous Day, Christopher Columbus Day. You feel it's the same day of the year. You feel then just taking that day away and putting it to another day and like, hey, this is Indigenous Day. We gonna recognize this day. They just kept the same day. So with United States, I don't think it's really gonna be legal bearings except for when people come into the water, if they talking to American docks and stuff like, hey, now the, we are entering the Gulf of America. You feel?
I also think that it has to do with, like, especially from somebody from your perspective, you from Louisiana.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Them folks in Louisiana don't want to have to be traveling into international water, and it's only 10 miles out from where they coming out of the port at. And there really ain't no international water in the Gulf of Mexico. It's really just America and Mexico, a couple of islands from the Caribbean, because most of the islands that's in the Caribbean, it's on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. It's not really all up in the Gulf of Mexico. And really, they just trying to do that for economic prosperity more so than for trying to take over some land or something like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. EEZ zone of the U.S.
Shout out to one of your videos on TikTok about the shrimp industry. I feel like if they make it the Gulf of America, it's gonna definitely help the Louisiana and Gulf seafood culture based on the fact that they'll be able to expand their fishing ranges.
Yeah, and when looking at the Gulf of Mexico, it mainly share linkage with Cuba, and yeah, Cuba, Mexico, and United States. Because I think the rest of it is it it's really no
That's on the
international. Yeah, it really no international water in the Gulf of Mexico because the United States hold a large sway of the Gulf of Mexico under its EEZ zone.
the
Its
economic development.
economic
And think about that. Who put that through? Who put the EDD through? Donald J.
yeah.
He put that through in the first term. Where
Yeah,
they could
so
go and they could get oil off the Gulf of Mexico.
yeah, so a large part of the Gulf of Mexico is under the sway of the United States, and Mexico could recognize its part as the Gulf of Mexico, and other people could recognize it as international standard. But just in America, we could recognize it as such as the Gulf of America. And nothing wrong with Gulf of America because it
I
recognizing
don't.
everybody in America. What
It's
you had
not
said?
disrespect. Mexico's in America.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm saying so. I think it's more inclusive. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be like liberals, but this is one of them times where it's kind of good to be more inclusive than less inclusive.
yeah, yeah.
We're all from America, you know what I mean? So we got to cooperate. You see
So
how these folks, they're cooperating on other continents.
yes, yeah. So we gonna let people see again. See, we was at Panama Canal. You see it at the bottom. We that's now we rolling the dice again. I said Gulf of Mexico. Where you going now? We got Canada and Greenland. Where we going now?
We might as well just talk about both of them because if we acquire Canada and Greenland, it might as well be the same state.
So now when we look at Canada, we gotta realize that's something that we didn't say in the other show because I wanted to bring part of it, the main key. Major road development through the Klondike that connect United States to Alaska in the mercy or the state of war. Then going through Canada territory, another country territory, necessary paperwork, necessary process, due process, habeas corpus, and so forth, or so with, to have a land connection to our great state of Alaska. That addition would help us protect United States sovereignty and also add resources such as gold and oil for the future of United States economic development. A lot of people say, oh, oil, when people speak of oil, they look at it as a bad thing. But hey, look at you driving that beautiful car. Look at you using plastic as a byproduct of oil. Hey.
And don't forget too, people who use Vaseline, that's from oil. People who use various skincare products and makeup and all type of stuff gets made from oil that they don't even know. They don't even have a clue that it starts out crude oil.
And the other thing is, we understand that the Arctic is melting. Land is receding out from under the snow. Russia ships is all in that area. Then we could build more military base, protect our northern fleet, and much, much more.
Yeah, we have to have the knowledge of military strategy. We have to have that because we know for a fact in Russia, the Arctic Circle is melting. Because a lot of those cities that was frozen deadlocked, landlocked cities, is now becoming port cities because the ice is melting and now the waterways is passable. Now, if the whole Arctic cap melts, it's the shortest way to America from Russia. If they go straight from the northernmost part of Russia to the northernmost part of Canada, that's a very short trip. That means they would be able to land invasion the United States of America. People don't know about these type of things because they don't study it. They got to study the military capacity. That's why Donald Trump's saying that there's a lot of Russian ships over there, and we need to stop them Russian ships from being over there in capacity. Because who knows if they're already not dropping folks off. Dropping people off in the Klondike, dropping people off in northern Canada, into them wilderness areas, and where it's uninhabited, nobody lives out there, ain't no civilization out there. But these Russians that have been living in Siberia for the last 100 years, they know how to survive. Not only survive, but flourish in them environments. So all they're going to do is wait for the word. They're just going to be out in the wilderness, stocking up food, stocking up whatever, weaponry, having children, stocking up population centers, and then boom, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Russians is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And people are going to be like, oh, you're just being a fear monger. Listen, this is not the 2024 election. And I say that to say this. Ain't no peaceful process in world events. Yeah. Either you go with what Henry brought out in the last show, the Teddy Roosevelt big stick policy?
And
Or you
Monroe
the one
Doctrine.
getting stick? Or you're the one getting beat with the big stick? That's belief. The Russians and the Chinese can't wait to come over here and stop putting the belt to people's behind. They can't wait. They're working on a way to launch an EMP to take our technology out, so they have a way to attack the United States. Our technology protects us, but what protects us the most is the biggest key is the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, the distance. The time it takes to move those massive troop amounts it would take for them to occupy the United States, we would destroy them in the water before they even got close. That what happened on Pearl Harbor would never happen today with the type of technology and radar and satellite imagery we got. We will blow them before they leave Hong Kong port if we know they're coming.
And let's go with the simple economic, the best economic part that most people don't understand, but need to understand how it benefits us a lot. Seafood. Seafood. Let's deal with people in Alaska, in Canada. Shipment of seafood. We know we saw them going in ships going crabbing.
Right?
We seen them go out there get like tuna and them big fish, wild catch and all type of stuff on the
Yeah. Don't
Discovery
forget
Channel.
Canada up the rivers, that's where the salmon is at.
Yes, and we see the guys in the contact see them digging for gold, starting for fish, gold, oil, and also we dealing with China monopolizing the market on rare earth minerals. They could sanction United States to not sell United States rare earth mineral that is needed for electronic and also military purposes, might be like stealth planes and other
And
applications.
how they got that. Don't forget how they got that. Let's not leave it out. They got that by making them treaties and them deals with them East African nations that they helped rebuild,
Yeah,
that the United States in the 90s and the 80s helped to destroy through civil conflicts.
yeah. Like Malcolm X said, the rooster will come out. Like United States had a lot of this coming to them in the long run because the Chinese people is a communist government, and when they prepare a 50-year plan, I'm sure to tell you this, that 50-year plan will be worked out to a T. While United States every 4 or 8 years, some wiggity wobbity, we go one course, go to another course, but it's kind of like we don't know the ins and outs till we are supposed to, because we do have an elite class of people, a deep state that know these secrets, know where United States headed. But I'm sure to tell you that when we see this here, is Donald Trump really preparing us because he's seeing what's going on? Because got to think about it. Denmark, we going now into Greenland. Denmark is a, a NATO founding nation, a NATO member nation. I don't think it will be Greenland will be taken over by force, because the reporter asked him and he did not give an answer. So the report, mostly a lot of reporters put it like, hey, he did not give a definite, he did not rule it out. That's what they say. He did not rule out military force. because he didn't answer the question.
Yeah, but we don't have to worry about military force. You know why? Because, like they said a little bit later in the video, the prime minister in Denmark already said that they'll give it up.
Yeah, he rather.
Who you got to think about it like this? Like, let's break it down in the street to the streets.
Rather America than Russia.
You know what I'm saying? Let's break it down in the street facet, because you know a lot of people out here, they understand the streets. That so, it in an urban situation, it's gonna be like Denmark is a block that's got a gang on it. That yeah, they got a couple of guns over there, some shooters. But them boys is just selling drugs. They ain't really about that doing hits and nothing like that. The United States is like the big bro gang. That's their ally. Russia is like the enemy gang. A gang that wants to just take the block by force because they know these people can't defend themselves. So obviously, they gonna talk to Big Bro, and Big Bro is gonna put a couple of people over there on that block with a couple of AK-47s and some AR-15s. So on standby. So if some shit goes down, some shit goes down. It's able to be defended. The spot is able to be defended. And now I say that to say this in the international. If Russia tries to invade Denmark, Denmark is not a strong military. They're not even going to be able to hold off Russia like Ukraine's doing right now. Denmark might get took over in a week, to be honest with you. Denmark is some soft folks over there. Remember, they was ready to throw ASAP Rocky in jail for life off of slapping somebody. So we know they're soft. You know what I'm saying? Off slapping somebody, they was trying to put them in there for 25 years.
Yeah.
So we know if Russia is not going to have a hard time overthrowing these people. You know what I'm saying? So what if they say, nah, we ain't going to give up Greenland? So you know what the United States is going to do? They're going to be like, then you know what? Then we ain't going to defend you when the NATO doctrine calls for it. We're not going to come to your aid. That's all we got to say. Because who's really going to stop us? We fund NATO. We pay all the bills. We keep the lights, like they say.
Because we got to understand that under Joe Biden, we poked the bear. And it was this like what America's scared of and also Russia's scared of is from Ukraine through Poland, you get to Germany. And Germany is Europe. It's Europe. You feel? If you not Germany,
Germany is the only economic powerhouse in the whole Europe.
Yes, and also France. But France is going down the drain.
The majority of the money over there, though.
France is going down the drain as we speak. Why? Because they lose.
Yeah, because they're having that social turmoil, though. You know what I'm saying? They're having social turmoil because they're doing the same thing what's happening to Canada, basically. Y'all, what would have happened to the United States had Kamala Harris became the president? Social programs would have bankrupted the systems to the point where there ain't no money for nobody now. Not even the rich people gonna have money. You know what I'm saying? And that's the dangerous part. Because once the government can't fund itself, that's when the people's gonna start erupting in violence. There's no police on duty to stop them because there's no money to pay the police. There's no money to pay the military servicemen. That's why, think about it, that's why France didn't go into Mali. Mali overthrew France's rule. Macron said that they need to pay them taxes. Hondu said, come take the money from us. And Macron said, we ain't got no money to send French troops in there. We ain't got the money.
Yeah, so in the process, we gotta understand when it comes down to that, Europe is losing momentum. It's like the reason why Europe is so dominant is because of old colonies and finance, a lot of finance and services, because and consumers, a lot of consumers. We gotta understand that we as America gotta look forward into the future that we're gonna be dealing with AI technology. It's here and it's gonna stay. We're gonna deal with robotics. We're gonna deal with national disasters. Nothing new under the sun. We gonna deal with national disasters that are gonna affect the nation. We're gonna in large ways. Remember what happened with the pipeline. Something happened to the pipeline in the eastern coast. No, yeah, the gas pipeline, and prices of gas went up.
Yep, that was when Joe Biden blew the pipeline on purpose and then tried to act like it was Russia, which the CIA already went through that and told us that it was them. They already told us it was them. So we gotta pay attention because there's people that's in agency right now that are in positions of power, not just in the United States, because remember Joe Biden about to get up out of here next week. But there's still people who mess with Joe Biden and his son out here in other countries in positions of power still, with leverage and all that. Just like they were saying, we don't know what type of backwards deal Joe Biden and his son had with China. We don't know. What happens if Trump becomes the president and all of a sudden now we have war with China? Because that's part of the deal that if the Democrats didn't win the election, China's going to cause World War III. How do we know that's not part of what's going on?
And I'm
How
a,
do we
and
know
I'm
that's not part of the deal? Or it's not a more economic deal where, because when Trump gets inaugurated president, China gets to take over the Panama Canal. How do we know? Because people don't understand. We owe China like $6 billion right now in borrowed money. You know what I'm saying? $6 trillion. Like, we owe them a lot of money. A lot of money, bro. Because China is the holder of 85% of our debt. That means 85 cents of every dollar of debt China's holding. That's like you, Henry, going to work, but
okay.
your
I'm
job
about to.
is 85 cents for every dollar of your wages. You ain't going to work. You're going to want to fight your job. Because how you going to make it? You're not even making a dollar. You're making 15 cents off the dollar you just made. Off your wages. That's what China's looking at us like that. Because think about it. We're buying all these products, Temu, etc. But we ain't paying down none of the debt. That's like somebody being on the block trying to buy some weed or something, and he owe you $100 and he's coming for a 20. It doesn't make sense. How are you supposed to still be selling somebody something that still owes you money?
Yeah.
How are you going to do a service for somebody knowing they still owe you money? It's a debt.
So now.
So would it be good to get Greenland? Yeah, of
So
course,
we
because of the
gotta.
natural.
So we gotta understand that at this point right now, it's shocking that Japan on. I think it because right now that China is selling, like Russia and China is selling a lot of U.S. debt, and I think Japan, for their economics to really rebound and to build up, they became number one United States um, foreign debt holder as China as of April 2024. China owned about $749 billion in United States debt. This makes China one of the largest creditor of the United States. So, and also we owe domestic debt. You feel that is our biggest one, domestic debt, and that is Social Security. United States owns Social Security. When it come
Really,
down
it's
to
not Social Security, to be honest with you. Like
huh,
to be, because I'm on, I mean, I'm on Social Security, so I know how Social Security works. It's not really Social Security; it's welfare program
yeah,
because there's no, they're taking the money to fund the welfare programs from the Social Security, but it is not technically Social Security. It's not the same thing. Social
I'm kind
Security
of
is a benefit.
yeah, I'm kind of like, hey, if I work all the days of my life, and when I get 60 or retirement age, I want my retirement. Please help me, something.
And you got to think about it like this, like Social Security is a benefit, so you have to pay into that.
Yeah,
Welfare is people who never worked in their life. The system is giving them money and benefits that they haven't earned. It's not
yeah,
earned. It's unearned incomes,
yeah,
right? A Social Security is also an unearned income, but it's considered a benefit, not an unearned income per se. It's just in the same category.
okay.
Because and we know that the only reason why the United States government continues to allow these women, because we know ain't no men on welfare. We already know they took that away in the 90s.
No, some,
Men can't
some,
even vote.
some, some limited few
I'm talking about
because
legitimate welfare. I'm not talking about beneficiary statuses. I'm talking about legitimate welfare. You know what I mean? That where they're getting checks from the government or they're getting apartments and stuff like that. That's not happening. It's not going to happen the way that it was happening before in the 70s, 60s, 80s.
yeah, a man would have to have his kids without the woman. And
Yeah,
then,
that's but that's
yeah,
the that's the same condition. That's the same collective
yeah,
condition.
yeah,
It's not like it's a alternative qualification.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's still welfare.
yeah.
And you know it's welfare because they ain't working. That's the real
But
key. They
but
ain't
let's
working.
get but let's get to our last topic because it's kind of like a social security net. I believe I believe is the to protect human and property in the great state of California in the wildfire. I seen video earlier today. I wish I could have downloaded and put it on here, but you could check it on TikTok and you check it on YouTube. That people setting fires on purpose, and if they are doing it, need to stop. And also, the problem in California is this: California don't have a lot of water, and the water that they do have, they need to protect a certain fish. You gotta understand, like some people are like, yeah, forget the fish, Forget that fish population, get that water to protect. Stop. Hold up. You gotta understand nature. When man went in the whole area and got rid of the wolves, it was problems with all the other animals. So the ecosystem, them fish in the river keep that river alive, and animals eat from the fishes like birds, and birds drop seeds, and you need the birds because what happened if you get rid of the bird? We got to understand by lessons that China did. China like, hey, we need to get rid of the sparrows because the sparrows ate a lot of grain, and if we get rid of them, we can save a lot of grain. Oh, when they start getting rid of the sparrows, locusts came, and there was no animal like the birds to get rid of the locusts. So the locust was a big problem. So when you deal with certain events, but people gotta understand also that we got areas like Dubai, that they and also Saudi Arabia where they could get water from the ocean, salt water, and desalinate it into fresh water. What's going on in California? What's really going on in California? If it's a problem dealing with the water with California, I'm telling people who don't live in California, I don't think y'all need to move there. And some of the people who stay in California in that certain area need to think about changing location from like Southern California. And if it is getting set on fire on purpose, what is the reason? Why? For insurance fraud, for
No, it's actually gonna be. It's actually looking like it's because they're trying to build California as the high tech city of the future.
the high tech.
So they need to get all the. They need to get all of the, to use a Hillary Clinton term, a liberal term, the undesirable populations out of there. And the fire, we already know from Hawaii, is effective at getting poor people out of sections. And then the rich come buy the sections of destroyed land. And then they go ahead and they build up their new age BS. They're trying to do the same thing with LA, basically, Santa Monica. Burn down Santa Monica, rebuild it. They want it to be in some high technology. Elon Musk, drones flying around, look like something off Fifth Element or Star Wars or something like that. Flying cars, all that type of stuff. I got family members that live out there that told me that, yeah, they got the drone space now. Drones be doing all type of delivery, everything out there. So, and not only that, the FAA and the United States Air Force cleared Los Angeles for them to start using flying cars. They gave them license.
But a lot of, as seen in the recent years, a lot of the tech people, and I'm gonna name a few, we dealing with Elon Musk. Elon Musk took an idea that my brother had. He said, this how you take over a county. You pick a county with a small population. Let's say the whole county is like 7,000 people. The whole county is 7,000 people. You create a business out there and say, let's say it's a car company, and you bring in 500 people. Them 500, you give them houses, board, everything. they're gonna vote the way that the company won't gonna vote. So that 500 people gonna be more structured than the other 7,000 or 3,000 people in that county. You could build a city based on 500 people. If you got 500 people living in the location, that is a city. And that's what Elon Musk is doing in Texas, the great state of Texas. He is about to build a futuristic city on the border of United States and Mexico. We about to see a lot of things changing in the near future. That's why I tell people that the children need to learn coding, need to learn how to deal with AI, like Chat GPT and all the other. Learn how to deal with coding, learn how to deal with computers. Something entertainment purpose dealing with the computers, but a lot of time you need to learn how to break it down. You need to learn how to work it. You need to know how to at least fix it. If your eye if your yes if your phone break and stuff. I saw somebody he fixed broke this, put a whole new screen to it, fixed everything for the phone, and didn't even have to go to Apple to get it fixed. And Apple going to Apple to get your phone fixed is a lot of money sometimes if you don't have an insurance plan.
That's because that's a high level skill.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of years of studying and a lot of years of technical expertise to be able to work with those phones. Because a lot of them, you mess one thing up, you messed up the whole phone. The way you
it don't take that long. It just take dedication. It just take like a trade, like somebody picking up and say, "Hey, I'm going to
a lot of
like I'm gonna
technical expert.
yeah yeah." It's just like yeah to really get into it, yes, but just the basic. I think like more schools when it comes down to that. I think from elementary all the way to high school, it should be class that deal with different technology. At
I
least
think
break.
that they messed it up. They messed it up because if you remember back in the time of MySpace, everybody who was on MySpace knew how to do HTML code. But they moved it to Facebook because they didn't want us learning that skill for free. I remember I was in junior high school, and I knew how to code the computer, but I haven't done that in so long that I forgot how to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
But when
remember.
MySpace was on, see, people don't understand the difference between Facebook, MySpace, Instagram. MySpace, you could fix your whole profile. You could change the background. You could make it so when people came in your profile and played music, you could have SpongeBob running across the screen on there. And all you had to do was know how to plug it into the computer, plug it into the field in the profile, in the actual MySpace profile. They took that away when they made it so that way it was profile locked in Facebook and these different meta products, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. They took away all customizations of the computer in order to leverage the skill set into a profitable way to charge people for extracurricular school. to go to college or technical school. You know, everybody who's watching, they can apply the knowledge. I know
Yeah.
everybody scrolled through their newsfeed on one of the various social media platforms talking about you need a job on IT. Why don't you sign up right here? Everybody sees that every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're charging people 40,000 to go. 45, 50,000 for a
Yeah.
skill that we learned on our own in the early 2000s for free.
So we gonna go more into electronics and everything for the next show. Right now, we about to close it off. I want to thank our number one fan who be on the show from the beginning to the end, Latoya Johnson. Appreciate the love. We give love back to you. And also for the people who come in and watch the show on a flyby, appreciate you for the love and care. Our information, I hope you take it and roll with it. We is not forcing no propaganda on you. We just giving you a different outlook in life. So you are never in the working service to strive to know different things. So I'm gonna leave you out on that one. You have anything else to say before we leave?
Hey, you already know, man. Positive vibes bring positive results. Can't no negative. You know what I mean? Don't let the negative energy get into your psyche, man. You know, like, don't let what's going on in the world take you off your game. You know, like that's the part of being clutch is when the world's falling down around you, are you able to stay solid? And it's important that in a world full of people who move around like clouds of smoke to stay solid.
I want to thank y'all. Peace, greetings, and back at you with another show in the near future. Stay tuned.